You are now listening to
Likely to Dispute.
hosted by Monkas, Reed, and Tyler.
How's everybody doing? It's Cevan, aka the Monkas. Joining with me today, as always, is Reed and Tyler, and this is episode 30 of Likely to Dispute.
We are very sorry for the delay. Scheduling conflicts, unusually busy week for us, but we will do our best to stay on schedule from here on out. But we do have another fun episode, a recap and a preview of week 3 and then week 4. And we're going to keep it pretty quick this week because we're uploading here, going to be on Thursday night or Friday morning, and we're just going to try to keep this quick for everybody. So we're starting here right in the week 3 recap. No opener. We're just jumping right in. We had one of the most fun matchups of the week. Ian getting his first win of the year versus the undefeated Cam Thorn. The flowers have officially spoiled for Cam Thorn. He no longer gets his flowers. He's 2-1 just like the rest of us. A couple of big performances and a couple of duds here for sure. Tyler, we'll start with you. Your Slurp King gets his first dub over Cevan's Slurp King. So what do you got here on the matchup pretty quick?
This was the Marion Hampton come out week. Glad he was able to step in there with Najee getting hurting that Achilles there. It was a pretty back and forth matchup between Camden and Ian. So Ian was able to squeak out a W here, and hopefully that sets him right for his rest of season. I guess
Cevan.
Actually, hopefully it doesn't.
I was just gonna say,
Yeah.
oh my God,
Sorry.
I hope he wins all the rest of
No,
his games.
Sorry. My bad.
Yeah, for me, the big difference in this matchup really ended up being the quarterbacks. They scored mid-20s and covered up some holes on his team. He had 3 really bad performances from Cooper Kupp scoring 5, BTJ scoring 7, and Chase Brown scoring 5. Camden only, or sorry, and that seemed to be the difference was the gap in QB. So you can see having an impact avoiding 0-3 to me what looks like having those steady quarterbacks. So
I was gonna say 0-3 puts you at basically sub 10% playoff odds here. So this was a huge win for Ian to keep the old season alive. And it also keeps your bold prediction, Cevan, alive from his episode that he struggles out of the gate and trades both of his first round picks to try to keep his season alive. So 0-3 makes that a lot more likely to happen right now. But I think him winning a game or two here and there keeps your prediction in a good spot here before the trade deadline.
mm-hmm.
Game number 2, we have the Monkas taking his first L of the season versus Mr. Cam K. Obviously, the big note here, Cam K, without Jaden Daniels in this game, starting the great Hunter Renfrow in the Superflex, where he turned in a banger of a performance, obviously, because he beat Cevan. So obviously, he definitely didn't have 2.6 points to beat Cevan. So, but obviously, a big negative is the Chiefs defense took Malik Neighbors to the woodshed out back, kept him locked down until the fourth quarter, and then Russell Wilson's eventual benching. So Cevan, we'll start with you quick here. First L of the season. How does it feel to get in the loss column?
Yeah, this one was tough. I had a bunch of single-digit performances. Still was within a touchdown, and it would have been a good story to Monday Night Football. Jameer doesn't get tackled at the 1, and we're sitting here with a different mood. But nobody's going to go undefeated. So the only thing that sucks about this is Camden has the sweep on still, but we're going to be waiting a few months to see if he can get the season sweep.
I was just going to ask about that. Are you feeling confident that you can bust his bold prediction in week 14?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, a long way to go before then, but we'll see.
Okay, Tyler, on to you. Tyler, your thoughts on the Michael Penix benching this week?
Well, that's funny that you mentioned that. I was going to bring up Penix and how in the last 2 weeks combined, he scored 12 points total or 12 point whatever. 12 points for a quarterback in 1 week is bad. To have that be the combined total of 2 weeks is really bad. The Falcons fired their wide receivers coach. Um, so things in Atlanta they're not looking the greatest right now. And then I'll talk about K's team real quick. Any week you're starting Tyrone Tracy and Hunter Renfrow in 2 flex spots. It's pretty impressive to come out with a win regardless of the rest of the roster. So hats off to him for that one. Jonathan Taylor looks so elite right now. I'm glad Monk has lost here.
Yeah,
These are the type of wins you need to get a couple of these type of wins every year.
yeah. I mean, you look at K's team right now, he is in such a bad spot because if you look at, again, he has Kittle down already. And when you look at his team, his two running backs are elite. How many combined touches do you think every running back he had on his bench had this week? He has three running backs on his bench. How many combined touches do you think they got?
5.
8.
Zero. Literally
Wow.
none. Ray Davis, Devin Neal, and Keaton Mitchell combined for zero touches, and Ray Davis had one target. So, as we talked about in his episode, his starting lineup was really, really good, and his bench was really, really bad. And he has been snake bitten by injuries so far, potentially likely getting Jaden Daniels back this week, but he might need to make some trades here to
Yeah.
bolster his non-quarterback spots, especially with CJ Stroud also being hot ass.
I might have to dangle DeAndre Swift in front of his face and
Wow, that might make his team
sis.
worse.
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
What interesting, real quick on that, interesting note is he has Ray Davis, and I think we all like Ray Davis, who had one target in the Dolphins game, which they scored 30 points. And so I thought that's interesting to follow. He only had a 7% snap share as well, but that's all.
Really embarrassing team to lose to, Cevan, but it happens to all of us, you know. Maybe the upset of the week. We had on our preview a clean sweep here for Swerly. And Swerly staring down the barrel of 0-2 right now. Consensus number 2 team in all of our power rankings before the season. And he's gotten a breakout performance from his first round pick last year in Caleb Williams, but right now he's really struggling to put points on the board. And Trent, his score vacuum against his opponents continues. He's got the old Monkas gene going right now, where nobody can score any points against him. So we're Trent again, 2-1 with some of the lowest points scored in the whole league. So I will start with you here. What do you have on the upset?
Yeah, Barkley's had a odd start to the season. Achan is a cheat code, and then Genti has been pretty bad to start the year. Though that's what he said he was banking on. He has a lot of wide receiver depth, but losing Lamb and then getting nothing from Zay is not optimal. I know I'm talking about his whole team, but Bo Nix is also not. He's I don't take PFF with a grain of salt, but he's the worst graded quarterback in the NFL through 3 weeks. So
Yeah,
not
just
a good start to Swirly's team.
Yeah, just a real. I mean, obviously, anytime you lose any player that's in your starting lineup in the first quarter to injury is difficult, and then make it your best skill position player, putting up a goose in a game that was very winnable for his team with an average week from CeeDee Lamb. That definitely stings. We've all been there. We can all relate to that. But I did, while we're talking about Swirly real quick, my bold prediction for his team was that he would not have he would not have Genti in his Week 14 lineup in a make it or break it game. And he is now currently not in his starting lineup in week 4. So
Wow.
apparently my prediction was not bold enough at the time, which I thought was pretty good. So
That's pretty good.
Tyler,
If we're bringing up bold predictions on Deshaun's team real quick, I predicted that Bo Nix and Caleb Williams would swap quarterback
that
finishing
is looking very good
positions,
right now.
and that is the case right now. So we kind of nailed it. You and I did read.
You know what they
Um,
Yep.
say? Stop the count.
One,
uh, go ahead, Swan.
sorry, yeah, one thing to touch on Swirly's team is while he is benching Genti and losing Lamb for probably a month, he's got Addison returning from suspension, and quietly Chris Olave is leading the NFL in targets. Um,
Starting lineup still looks quite respectable
yeah,
for that, like, more respectable than any other team in the league, given what he's dealing with. I mean, dealing with being underperformance with Genti, of course, but an injury to Lamb. Like, I don't know how many people could endure 2 injuries like that to two ADP first round redraft picks and still have a lineup that looks like this. So again, a credit to Swerly and the team building.
We'll t say real quick on Trent's team, even though he did come out with a win, Mike Evans suffered a hamstring injury, so that might hurt Trent's team here in the short term. But it does look like he's hit on a couple rookie running backs in Judkins and Scadaboo, so kind of a
yeah.
mixed bag going forward for Trent in my mind.
But you know what that means for him, Tyler? Rashad
What's that?
Bateman time.
Oh,
Mike Evans out, Rashad Bateman in.
that was just a trademark Rashad Bateman
Yes,
game
big
last
time.
week.
Big time. Maybe the saddest matchup of the week. Sumner getting, I'm not going to say he didn't earn it, because he did, but not much competition or pushback there from Schrader's team, putting up a measly 71 points. Russell Wilson benched following the game. Uh, just a really tough week for him. I had troubles putting together a stud for his team, but the duds were aplenty. Sumner again, not a bad performance by any means. Really encouraging stuff from Jordan Mason getting the lead role with the Aaron Jones injury, and Christian McCaffrey continuing to scam in PPR like nobody's business. Um, Tyler, thoughts on this matchup?
Yeah, nothing that we haven't really said about Schrader's team before. I saw a chart today on my Twitter feed. It was illustrating how explosive running backs are and how consistent they are. And Jordan Mason was, I might be butchering this
No,
just a
I saw
little
that
bit.
same chart.
Yeah, and Jordan Mason was like consistently the most explosive running back. So I was in on Jordan Mason this summer. It was in that role in Minnesota. He looks great. I know it was against the Bengals, but he looked really good.
Cevan, any thoughts here?
No, not too much. Just another week. Schrader's trading his best player. So that's two weeks so far this year. He's traded his best player, and it's getting worse and worse as we go. But maybe we'll see in a couple of years what the plan is.
Cevan, you have 1 week this year trading your best player. So
I've
you're
never
like
traded
halfway there.
Malik. Never traded Malik.
You definitely traded Patrick Mahomes.
Not my best player. Come on. You know this. You're just trying to fit
Reasonable
it in.
minds will disagree.
You're just trying to fit it in.
I don't have a problem. Wait, no, yes, I do have problems fitting it in. Thank you.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Almost a bad one there, but a good one here. Second win of the season, put up a good week for me. Uh, Couple of studs, couple of duds. Some worry for the Bengals offense, which obviously would be quite detrimental to my season if Jerick Browning is as bad as he is against Brian Flores, and that hurts Jamar Chase. Jake Ferguson now, uh, yeah, he gets a lot of targets, doesn't do much with them, but in a PPR league with tight end premium, that dude racks up the points here, and with Lamb out, we're looking forward to him getting 15 catches for 50 yards this week. It's going to be awesome. Rob, just one of the unluckiest starts to a season I've ever seen. He has faced the top scorer in the league when it wasn't him every week. In week one, he got the .05 point victory as the top scorer in the league and was facing the second highest scorer. Cam makes the second highest scoring week in league history in week two against him, and now against me as the highest scorer in week three. So he is up against it right now at 1-2, but not necessarily because his team has not performed well, but just some real bad luck here. Cevan, thoughts on the matchup?
Yeah, scoring 160 in a week where your better players didn't perform is always a good feeling. One week three victory lap I'll have is Jake Ferguson is tight end one on the season. Hunter Henry is tight end three. When I made the remarks, I was getting laughed at, especially about Hunter Henry. And again, 3 weeks in, but we're here, and this is all we can go off of.
Tyler, any thoughts from you that don't include a victory lap after 3 weeks?
No, no victory laps for me. I'll just one player I want to highlight on each of your teams. Juwan Johnson on Rob's team. Just he looks like he's more than just a flash in a pan this year. He's been used quite a bit in New Orleans. And then Garrett Wilson has surpassed my expectations, and I'm sure yours as well. It looks like in New York he's able to rack up consistent targets and turn those into valuable points for you. Yeah, 9 targets first week, 8 the second, and 13 last week. So he's just being focused so hard in the New
Mm-hmm.
York offense.
Yeah, I mean, I never had doubts that he would get targets because nobody else there can catch passes. I was more worried about what he was going to do with them. In the 2 weeks he's performed well. Justin Fields had one of the best performances of his career through the air, and then last week they just trailed for a lot of the game, made an unusual comeback, and then Tyrod was running the offense relatively effectively. So I'm worried about what it looks like long term with Fields. I also don't think it's out of the possibility that Tyrod does end up starting games for them without a Fields injury this year. I mean, not right away, but definitely possible. So if that's the back half of the season, that could bode well for Garrett Wilson's fantasy prospects in the back half. So definitely exceeded my expectations, but he's still available, everybody. He's still on the trade block. And finally, our primetime matchup of the week was a little bit of a dud in terms of the final score. But Tyler, we'll start with you. A tough week for the squad here. A lot of guys who performed okay. Nobody that performed terrible, but most importantly, nobody that performed great outside of Trey McBride catching his first touchdown of the year. Sandy, kind of led by his big boys. Montgomery blew up in that game against the Ravens. Jalen Hurts actually threw the ball downfield, which was nice, and that's really kind of the stamp right there for him. Hurts throws a touchdown to AJ Brown. Bijan and Montgomery both have good games, and then he's golden. So, Tyler, your thoughts here on the matchup?
If I bring up the meme where it's like the kid or something, and he's like, finally, I've achieved a pure mid. Does that like ring any
That does ring
bells?
a bell.
Okay, well, that was my team this week. I mean, I don't really have anyone to be clapping my hands over, and I also don't have anyone to be shaming publicly. And it's just everyone scored between 10 and 18 points, and it honestly made it a pretty boring week to watch for me. It was just in terms of watching my players because they were fine, but it's just those scoring between 10 and 18 points is great if you have other guys who are going off and they can, raise that floor. But that just 118 points is just in such a lackluster way. It doesn't have me. It just kind of leaves me feeling lost. I don't know if that makes sense. It's just what do you make of guys being just average, you know?
Yep. Cevan, your thoughts here?
Uh, really nothing.
Tyler, your thoughts on your two Commanders boys not practicing here for the first 2 days of the week? Are you scared for the upcoming matchup, not
I'm more
having either of the faces of your franchise?
I'm worried about what's going on with Terry. Bill, we'll see. I was a little surprised he didn't practice today. Also, we should talk about Sandy's team real quick. David Montgomery, that was a crazy game from him. It was his best game since 2023. I went back and looked. So I was really surprised to see that as someone who was out on David Montgomery earlier this
Research
year.
team is coming up big on that one.
That's right.
That wraps up week 3 for us. Another exciting week in the books. Our picks leaderboard. Cevan somehow goes 1-5 on the week. I don't even know how that's possible. Even with a coin flip, that'd be pretty unlikely. So, Cevan, proud of you, man. You're really making us stand out here. Tyler and I both were pretty mid this week, but that puts Cevan significantly behind in the season standings. 3 weeks in, how do you guys feel about the picks?
Does anybody remember which one I got right?
Sumner over Schrader. Not a bold prediction.
The layup. No
Yeah,
offense.
I mean, some offense.
I mean, it's early. I got time.
It's early, he says. Okay.
This is the guy who was telling us last week that we had in week 2, Reed, you and I had finished in last. So
This is correct. Week 4 preview. First game of the week. We have Sandy, we have Kay. 2-1 teams, both coming off decisive week 3 victories, especially Cam K, making a statement that he can win with one hand tied behind his back. And now a 2-1 matchup. Winner puts themselves in a great spot moving forward at 3-1. But all of us don't see it as a great matchup. All of us are picking Sandy this week. I think the return of Daniels, potentially, likely at this point, it seems like he practiced today, makes it a much more even matchup than when I picked it. But I'm still taking Sandy. I think we were too low on Sandy and the possibilities that his team could present in the preseason. But I'll open up to you guys here on the Sandy picks.
go ahead, Swan.
Yeah, well, the biggest difference for me is just overall firepower, and still we don't know if Jaden's playing. Tucker Craft won. He was not limited last week, but they just didn't use him, which in hindsight they probably should have, because they lost in the rounds. But I don't know. He's still starting two Packers pass catchers, which I hate, and Nick Chubb, who to me hasn't looked very good. But that being said, he's got a lot more ceiling, spread out throughout. So
Tyler?
Yeah, this Chris Godwin looks like he'll maybe play this week, so he's in his lineup right now. In Cam Case, that is. And that should be good, but also you could also see where they're trying to ease Godwin in, or maybe it's possible he doesn't play at all. I'm a little bit more skeptical that Daniels plays this week, even though he has been practicing some. So I weighed those two things pretty heavily there. Those last two flex
Hmm.
spots that K has just don't match up quite as well against Sandy's team. And yeah, Sandy's team has been rolling, so I'll ride with the hot hand.
I mean, even if Daniels does play, it seems likely he's limited rushing
Yeah,
wise with a knee
definitely.
injury, not trying to repeat any RG3 issues. So,
Yeah.
yeah, this one was a tough one that to have a sweep on for two and one teams, but Sandy's the clear leader here that I think I don't think anyone's ever going to pick a team starting Hunter Renfrow in the super flex to win a game. So, that's a tough one. Another big matchup here. Swerly, again, starting 1-2, despite some good performances across the team versus our surprise team, number one in the league at this moment, Cam Thorn, 2-1, two big wins to start the year, followed up by a solid enough performance last week. And we do have a split here. Cevan and I are going with the number one team in the league at this moment, and Cam Thorne and Tyler is going with Swerly. Tyler, you start us. You're picking Swerly here to pull the record upset. Oh, sorry, the upset going by records.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised that I'm the only one taking Deshaun here. I think his team is the 1 and 2 team that I'm least worried about. I think his team has been performing quite well overall. And so
Uh, does that mean you're less worried about him than you are about Ian?
that's correct.
Okay, we will get there.
Sounds good. And right now, oh, you're right. Genti's not there. Genty could be there too. Um, But I mean, up and down, there's not a super weak spot in my mind on Deshaun's team. And I know Cam's has been great, but I have a hard time trusting Metcalf week over week. Bryce Young has looked pretty iffy to start the year, and so I'm gonna roll with Deshaun.
Savon, you and I are both rolling with the big dog himself. What do you got?
Yeah, he undisputably um he's got the best wide receiver duo in the league. Uh you can't argue with it because he literally has wide receiver one and wide receiver two with Puka and Amon-Ra St. Brown. And on any given week, they can combine for 60, 70.
Okay,
James
70 might
Cook,
be a little that's two 35-point games.
yeah, they're capable any given
Anybody's
week.
capable of that with that logic. Come on, man. Let's
Okay.
just stay on planet Earth here.
James Cook,
Trey Tucker's capable
That's what I'm saying.
of that. Sorry.
James Cook has been elite. They said the touchdowns weren't going to stick. They're sticking. He scored 20 plus in every game. J.K. Dobbins has been a pleasant surprise, uh, scoring 15 points a week. Tyler Warren's been elite as a uh, rookie. Uh, so outside of quarterback, really, I know DK's been sketchy, but that's the thing is he's averaging over 150 while DK's catching 3 passes a game. So um, it's a good matchup nonetheless. Probably more of a coin flip rather than what the projections say, but I side with Cam Thorne and then
Hmm.
push Deshaun down to 1-3. That would be awesome.
Yeah, I'm okay. I don't agree with that part, but I will say that I think firepower wise, I think this is the most fun matchup of the week. Like, no one expected Cam Thorne to be at number one in the standings after three
I
weeks.
did.
You expect him to be number one at the end of the year. Week three was not your bold prediction. So, regardless, a team we expected to be at the top has struggled record wise a start versus a team that has out to a hot start. This feels like a really fun matchup. And like I said, firepower wise, this was at a really good argument here for our prime time game of the week. Week four, another one, Rob versus Schrader, who had a logo change following the departure of Derrick Henry. Rob coming off a loss, Schrader coming off a loss, both trying to get back on the schneid. And we got a clean sweep here. Just a really rough look for Schrader's lineup right now. There's no two ways about it. I think we all still feel quite confident in the talent that Rob has out there. Put together a bad week last week, points wise, after 2 good weeks to start, or at least solid weeks. So, yeah, I don't have much else to say here. as Tyler said in our picks leaderboard, kind of the layup pick of the week right now.
Jackson Dart is here to resuscitate Schrader's team.
Wow. That is a lot considering he's projected for 96 points without him.
Yeah, I think this will be if Rob can get to 120, he'll take the win. Um, the one big note in this matchup is Robert has taken out Lad McConkey and inserted Quentin Johnson.
That's a
And
big change.
yeah, us three, we didn't really talk about it too much, but there's been some conversation on, the triplets of Quentin, Lad, and Keenan, and how they've all been relevant, just two of them really relevant over one. And after all the discourse this whole offseason, it's interesting that that's where we lie.
I would like to put it on the record that I texted Rob and said, can I buy Lad McConkey? And his response was no, with no follow-up or anything. So I find it interesting that he's benching him this week, but wouldn't even let me try to make an offer for him. So I'm gonna call him out for that one.
Did you ask about QJ?
I already have Keenan, so I don't need QJ. I want Lad
Why do you need Lad then?
because he's the best of the group, so I want to buy him.
I'm going to piggyback off what you just said. On Monday, or not on Monday, on Tuesday, I also texted Rob, but I was inquiring about QJ. I'm just going to read verbatim. It's two messages. I said, "What can I buy QJ for?" He said, "I'm going to keep him for now."
God,
So
this guy, I tell you, man, just the worst guy to trade with in the league.
Well, no one's asking about Devontae Adams.
Well,
Shame.
he's missed. Sorry, he didn't practice yesterday or today, by the way.
I'll still buy Devontae if I didn't have 8 better receivers than him. I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
Devontae's really good. I just don't need him right now. But if I
He
do, I'll call you up, okay?
Okay.
he would probably be your wide receiver too.
He'd probably be better than every wide receiver you have on your team. I'm just kidding. We love Devontae here. Week 4, another matchup. Tyler coming off a loss, me coming off a win. We have another clean sweep here. Not to tickle my own gooch here, but I feel like my team's in a good spot
God.
relative to what it could be. And I think Tyler's team is in a bad spot following the Terry injury, following the loss of Aura and potentially in Bill, the soft start of Cam Ward, like just in a bad spot. So a clean sweep here. Cevan, any thoughts here on the pick?
No, Tyler, you're doing kind of nasty stuff with the lineup, like really nasty.
He's trying to antagonize me by
It's
putting Tyquan Thornton in. So if he catches a long touchdown, I can't be that happy about it in the Chiefs game.
he probably will. So this would be a good uh indication of Taekwon because to me, the last couple weeks he's felt like he's felt like a best ball type player, but he's getting a shit ton of targets. Um, Christian Kirk, I've been out on, you guys know that. The Texans are abysmal, so that's interesting. Charbonnet off injury, splitting time, at least in this small sample size, he was
And
splitting.
ass.
And then Trey Benson getting his first real opportunity of his career that we're going to be watching here in about an hour. So a lot of unknown here, which in this case I do not like.
Oh, you don't
Um,
like it when it's not you. You only
no,
like it when it's you.
Yeah.
no, that's not
I am
true.
excited to see Trey Benson
Me
take
too.
Oh
a
yes,
fat L this week on
Oh.
Tyler's
oh,
team.
okay.
Because
I
I
was
am
gonna
excited to
say
see Trey Benson. Sorry, I wasn't saying I was excited for Trey Benson. I'm saying I was excited to watch Trey Benson as long as he's taking a loss on your fantasy team this week was my point. Tyler,
sneakily, real quick, sneakily, you guys got a lot of like implications starting here soon.
well,
Your
Tyler
RB
roster's
one,
like 9 Cardinals players, so that makes sense.
that's true. Your RB1, and then or I guess you have Henry, but yeah,
No. You had it right the first time. Kenneth Walker,
okay.
RB1. Tyler,
And
any thoughts from you?
Kyler, Charbonnet, Benson,
Yeah.
and McBride.
Your team is squarely better than mine. I firmly believe that. And not to play the tiny violin for myself, but I have low-key had a good amount of bad injury luck with James Conner and Joe Mixon,
Rip.
Justin Fields, Right now, Terry is banged up. We mentioned Devontae hasn't been practicing. Again, not to feel too sorry for myself because even if my team was perfectly healthy, I don't necessarily think I'm in the top echelon of teams. But that has been going on my team, so
Gabe Davis
that's
is still
tough.
out too.
Yeah,
Yeah,
damn.
Marshawn Lloyd.
Cevan Sanders is out.
Wow, the whole
Dude,
squad's just no bad.
Jaden Blue is getting healthy, scratched.
He's getting healthy in the rehab pool because he's a healthy scratch.
Fields cleared though.
Okay.
Fields clear
This
clear.
can you guys see my screen? It
Yeah.
told me that it can't load Ian's picture. This might be an omen here.
It is, oh, so is.
This is the picture I've been using on every single week for him, and it just told me it can't load this. So,
Is that
Ian,
Lamar?
yeah, it's just the regular
Oh,
Lamar picture.
if something happens to Lamar, this
Oh,
is
we're
on
getting
you.
we're
No, it's
getting
on you. It's
we're
on
getting in
you.
trouble. No, no. I think by my pick last week, after picking against Ian in the first 2 weeks and he loses, and I picked for him last week and he wins, I think it's quite clear that Ian should be trying to butter me up here because you know what I have? I have Ian this week as well. And all of us have Ian this week.
Hmm.
Cevan not believing in himself for the first time ever because you got to take a chance to slurp up Ian's team. He loves Brian Thomas. We know that. But all of us are picking against Cevan here, which is right where he likes to be, the underdog, the villain, the guy nobody wants to play, the scrappy team, the lunch pail type team. So, Cevan,
Wait,
give
wait.
us the
Before,
case for
can I
getting
go
your ass
first?
kicked this
Can
week.
I go
Okay,
first
sorry.
before Savan?
Sure, go
I
for it.
have something. Savan, I'm not looking at you, but imagine I'm looking at you, all right? This
Okay.
is so soft of you. You're the defending champ
Yeah,
of
I'm
our
with
first
Tyler
year.
here.
You're 2-1 with the second most points for this year through 3 weeks. Ian's team hasn't been great at 1-2, and you're choosing Ian. That's just this is bad, man. You stand on business a lot of times when you shouldn't, and this is a time you should and you're not. So I'm disappointed in you.
Cevan, your response to
Yeah.
that.
Yep, my response to that directly, I am 0-3 in picking Ian's matchups. Um, and so I look to capitalize on that.
Well, the good news is that Tyler is also 0-3 picking Ian's matchups, and I am 3-0.
Wow.
So,
Oh, so we're gonna see who the common denominator is.
yes.
Um,
But I also think the case against Savannah is quite clear. T. Higgins in a huge downgrade without Burrow. Michael Penix is just a big, thick ass. And at that point, you're missing two of his players that he was relying on versus Ian's team, who has underperformed to some extent, but healthy at least at the moment. So, yeah, the case against is pretty clear. But yeah, I agree with Tyler. You got to stand on business, man.
uh, for me,
Try
outside of
try to try to make it quick here.
outside of just that part, um, my match, I have one good matchup. Like I got Cleveland, San Francisco, Seattle, Carolina's been good, the Chargers, the Chiefs, Denver. It's brutal.
No, no, no.
But
Carolina has not been good. Michael Penix was hot ass.
did they play the Falcons for 3 games? I'm unsure. Oh,
No,
okay, I didn't think
but
so.
the Cardinals put up 28 against them in week 2, and I don't remember who they played in week 1, but
Either way, Rome plays the Raiders though, so he looks to wide receiver 3
okay.
on the year. It looks
Sure.
to
Yep.
back on him.
Finally,
Prime time matchup.
the primetime matchup of the week. We have Sumner versus Trent, two teams who have gotten off to a hot 2-1 start, one by being a score vacuum and one by just stacking solid weeks, week over week on end, putting up the floor that we all expected him to have, and it's come into play here. And we've got a split here. Cevan picking Trent, Tyler and I taking Sumner. Cevan, give us the quick rundown here why you're picking Trent in the primetime matchup.
Yeah, I really think both teams are, you know, maybe performing above expectations. It's
Trent
fun
has the
knowing
second lowest points in the league, to be clear, and he's 2-1.
all we can see is the record. But it's fun seeing, or it's fun knowing one of these two teams are going to be 3-1 after the week. Trent's got an influx of youth in his lineup. You know, Scattaboo is the RB1 in New York already, probably thanks to injury, but sometimes that's how it happens. Judkins has actually looked really good his first 2 weeks. And he's got Pacheco on the bench. So anytime you can get a cancer out of the locker room, things usually go
To
better.
be clear, he's still in the locker room. He's on the bench still, so he's still in the locker room.
Oh, he's if you're not in the lineup, you're off the team. And Pacheco
Oh,
has been
does that mean your bench is free game? Because there's really no one of use, but if there was, I could just pluck him, right? Okay, we don't need any more about Pacheco. We're all good on that. Wrapping up here. Any last thoughts from you guys as we wrap up our first off-schedule episode of the in-season or of the NFL season?
Yeah, real quick, just for me, we're gonna push every week to get something out to you guys. I know, sorry this was delayed, but we got it done. It was a little condensed, but um, a little teaser too. We're gonna try and double upload probably once a month, so a midweek and a weekend probably. So we'll get something in the works for you boys here soon.
Tyler, anything from you?
Yeah, put some guys out on the trade market.
God, this is not the
And
time to advertise your trade block.
It is because I just want people to know that I'm not asking for what these guys were in their prime. I understand what they are now, but I'm sorry, starting Hunter Renfrow in the super flex spot is just crazy to me when I have guys that would be so much better suited, even guys that aren't quarterbacks. So
Sure.
I have guys. I'm not asking for Jameer Gibbs and Malik Neighbors at Savannah.
Whoa! I'm
You're
throwing my guys out there.
absolutely
You-
not wrong there. That is unacceptable to be starting Hunter Renfrow
Sure.
with some of the talent that is here. But I take back my comment. That was a worthwhile advertisement just to call someone out. Yes,
You could put them on the actual trade block too if you wanted.
yes, that also works. Not everybody's in Discord or has Discord
Uh,
notice on,
I put it in sleeper swap, but I'll throw them all on there.
There you go.
especially Swerly. Shout out. That man doesn't know how to use Discord.
It's true.
Okay, wrapping up here. That's all we have. It was a fun episode, and we'll have an even better one next week. And we will see you then.